Alright, we're about to dive into the world of one of the most endangered animals on our planet, the red wolf. So once upon a time, like not even that long ago, the red wolf was totally thriving across the eastern and south central parts of the US. We're talking about from Texas all the way to New York, and they were pretty much everywhere in between. But then, by the 20th century, these awesome creatures were pretty much wiped out. Fast forward to today, and these wolves are almost totally extinct in the wild, and are now the most endangered wolf species in the world. With only a handful of them left, like 15 to 17 of them to be exact, still out there hanging on in the wilds of eastern North Carolina. Well, they aren't exactly lone survivors, but are part of an experimental population that have been placed out there. These red wolves are seriously some incredible animals, but just like so many other species in history, they have been pushed to the brink of extinction. But hey, by the end of this, you'll be a red wolf expert and totally pumped to help bring these guys back. So let's start with the basics and get into what makes these wolves so unique, starting with their physical characteristics. Let's talk about what the red wolves actually look like. First off, they aren't as huge as their gray wolf cousins. They're actually on the smaller side, about 4 feet long, and they weigh somewhere between 45 and 80 pounds. Now compare that to the gray wolf, which can grow up to 6 feet long and weigh as much as 175 pounds. So yeah, there's a pretty big difference. If you were out in the wild and trying to spot one of those few red wolves left, look for a couple of key features. For one, they have a wide head and tall, pointy ears. Those ears are pretty distinctive, and sometimes they have a reddish color to them. You'll also see that reddish color on their legs and the back of their head. But for the most part, the rest of their fur is more of a brownish tone, kind of like a mix of tan, gray, and a rusty red. So yeah, they've got this unique color combo going on that makes them stand out in a wolf pack, and you definitely wouldn't confuse them with just any other wolf. Now, where did these red wolves used to chill? Honestly, they were pretty laid back about where they set up shop, as long as a few basic things were covered. Back in the day, you can find them all over the southeastern US. Basically anywhere there was enough food, water, and shelter to go around. So they weren't too picky on where they lived. From forest to wetlands, they were pretty much down to hang out anywhere they could get by. But when we zoom in on the 1970s, the last place they were really found were in the marshy habitats of Texas and Louisiana. But by then, their numbers had already totally dipped. And now we've got that experimental population that I mentioned earlier in eastern North Carolina. From studying them, scientists have found out that these wolves are pretty big fans of having some space. In fact, their home turf usually covers somewhere between 20 and 80 square miles. But the size of their territory depends a lot on how much food is available. So basically, these wolves love having their own turf and are totally down with a variety of habitats as long as they can find the essentials to survive. Alright, so what's on the menu? Just like their laid-back vibe with where they like to live, they're pretty chill when it comes to food too. They're definitely the go-with-the-flow type of animal, so their meals depend a lot on what's available around them. Red wolves are super opportunistic, which means they're always ready to snatch up whatever they can find to munch on. Now, if they were to walk into a restaurant with all their faves on the menu, what would they find? Well, they'd be hitting up a solid mix of white-tailed deer, raccoons, and smaller mammals like rodents and rabbits. All that meat keeps them going, and even though they're not huge animals, they need to keep their energy up to cover those big distances that they travel. They might even travel up to 20 miles or more a day just to find something to eat. And that's why red wolves will usually eat anywhere between 2 and 5 pounds of meat a day, so they can fuel all that walking and hunting. I mean, it's kind of impressive how adaptable they are to whatever food or environment is available. Let's take a peek into the life of a red wolf. They are super social animals, and they live in tight-knit family packs. We're talking about a pack of around 5 to 8 wolves, which usually includes the parents, aka the breeding adults, and their pups from different years. So it's like one big wolf family. And when the pups hit 1 to 2 years old, that's when they're ready to leave the den, head out on their own, and look for a mate to start their own family. And once they find their mate, they're pretty loyal, sticking together for life. Every year in February, the pair will mate and start the cycle again. When the mama wolf is pregnant, it's only for about 2 months, so the pups will usually make their grand entrance into the world around April or May. And mama can give birth to anywhere between 3 and 12 pups. They'll give birth in dens that are well hidden from the outside world, like in hollow trees, stream banks, or even little holes they dig in the ground. But here's the sad reality. Even though they have a lot of pups, fewer than half of them will survive into adulthood. The wild can be rough, with dangers like disease, lack of food, and predators always lurking. Now, even though red wolves may seem a little smaller than your average wolf, they are pretty feisty. They're definitely not afraid to defend their territory if another wolf steps in. But when it comes to humans, they're a little shy. They usually try to stay away from us whenever they can. They prefer to stay out of sight and go about their business without getting tangled up in human activities. I mean, can you blame them? Come on, aren't red wolves some amazing animals? I mean, seriously, look at those faces. But sadly, as we mentioned earlier, these incredible creatures have faced some major setbacks. Red wolf populations were absolutely decimated by things like intense predator control programs and loss of their natural habitats. Back in 1967, the red wolf was officially recognized as a species at risk of extinction under the Endangered Species Act. And you know what that meant? Real conservation efforts starting to kick off. But the sad truth is, even with all those efforts, the vast majority of red wolves still live in human care today. As of now, there's only those 15 to 17 of them that are roaming their natural habitat, the ones in North Carolina. But on the brighter side, there is now about 241 red wolves living in 45 different captive breeding facilities across the US. So they're not totally out of the game yet. They've still got a fighting chance because of dedicated people working to help them bounce back. But let's not sugarcoat it, because having so many of these wolves in captivity is a bittersweet reality. It's a reminder of how much damage we've done to not only the animals, but to their habitats. This is just one example, but there are so many other species out there that face similar fates. And some aren't as fortunate to have people working so hard to save them. A lot of those animals are now just a page in a book, a memory of what once was. That's why we all need to step up and do our part to raise awareness about endangered species and the habitats they depend on. Every little action counts, from spreading the word to making more eco-friendly choices. The red wolf and so many other animals need us more than ever to protect the world they call home. And you're already taking action by watching this video, because the first step to saving a species or environment is learning about it. And if you enjoyed this video, show it some love. Like it, share it, push that subscribe button, because it really helps us get the word out there to more people and spread awareness about these animals that need our help. And as always, if you want to learn more about different wildlife, environments, sustainability, or maybe just visit some cool places along the way with us, check out our other videos. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate the support, and it's going to take all of us considering Earth.